Ms. Sanzi, welcome.
Thank you for having me. And it's been 2 years that we've been working on this, so I'm happy to finally be here. The reason that we specifically are, well, first of all, Alex Marzalkowski, who's my state rep, introduced the bill. He's in finance tonight, so he can't be here. But I'm the reason, really, that he brought the bill forward. I am a former educator and former school committee member, and I now make my living advocating and writing about education. And in doing that work a couple years ago, I came across the consent laws in lots of states and discovered that there are a few states, Massachusetts and Rhode Island are two of them, where there's a gap between the consent age and the age that kids graduate from school. So as it currently stands right now, parents are compelled by law to send their kids to school. These are public employees. It is legal at the moment for teachers to have sex with their students once they turn 16. It is not a crime in the state of Rhode Island for the teachers of my children and your children to have sex with them as soon as they turn 16. It is not a crime. The deterrent that the gentleman next to me talks about is, yes, they can lose their teacher license and they can be fired. But that just means that they jump to Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Hampshire, Vermont, or anywhere else in the country, and they're able to get another job teaching and preying on kids. Rhode Island was ranked in they did a one-year investigation, and we have a rating of a D, which is better than Massachusetts. They had an F, for tracking teachers who are accused of sexual misconduct. We don't track them. Confidentiality agreements mean that we don't know where they are and where they're going. 1 out of 10 students in the United States is a victim of sexual misconduct by an educator. That doesn't mean that it's sexual abuse, so it's not as bad as it sounds. That includes sexual text messaging and comments. But we know that wherever we have a lot of kids, we also know that people who have bad intentions do bad things to them. When I am with I have 3 sons. When I'm with my kids and other parents, they are shocked to know that there is no law prohibiting their children's teachers from having sexual relationships with their kids when they turn 16. A family in Massachusetts lost their daughter, essentially, because she was having a sexual relationship with her teacher, Spanish teacher. Cardinal Spellman was the school. They went to law enforcement. Law enforcement said, "We're very sorry. There's nothing we can do to help you." So she moved away to California with her teacher, and the parents were left with nothing that they could do. So what we're asking is that we protect students from all people who work with them in the school, again, a public place where parents are compelled to send their children or else they are violating the law. And that would include teachers, school custodians, school bus drivers, school volunteers, any vendors, et cetera. So we're one of the only states in the country to have it currently in this position. Most states either have a consent law of 18, so they sort of avoid most of this, or they have laws that have a specific clause about people in positions of authority with children. Apparently, that was considered to be too broad by the people who looked at this law. So while I would be perfectly fine expanding this to people who are either in positions of authority or who are caregivers or guardians of children, I believe we were told that it wouldn't pass constitutional muster. I don't love the language in this new bill. I think that penetration is way too specific. Obviously, if a student is having a relationship with a teacher and the one thing that doesn't happen is penetration, suddenly we're supposed to think that's fine. I suspect there's not a parent in the state that would think that's fine. And I would also add that the rank and file teachers are often the ones who are the whistleblowers when this is happening. They generally support this kind of change in the law because they also feel like they have more standing. So while I am very aware that union officials in all of the states where this is an issue don't support the legislation, rank and file teachers and parents absolutely do. Thanks.